Dorothea Lange changed history because she looked unflinchingly at injustice and snapped her camera. She used photography to make art. She knew how to capture happy families with their homes, their work, their farms, their community. She also knew how to frame what it means to be American and how to see the American government at work. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's go back to the beginnings of this story.
When the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, our west coast became a potential combat zone. Living in that zone were more than 100,000 persons of Japanese ancestry, 2/3 of them American citizens, 1/3 aliens. We knew that some among them were potentially dangerous. Military authorities therefore determined that all of them, citizens and aliens alike, would have to move.
In February 1942, President Franklin Roosevelt signed Executive Order 9066, which authorized the military to exclude any or all persons from designated military areas. In practice, this allowed for the unjust forced removal and incarceration of Japanese Americans from the West Coast without due process. The new War Relocation Authority, hastily created to carry out this order, hired the famed photographer Dorothea Lange to document the process. She had spent the Great Depression capturing some of the most iconic images of that time for the government. However, she knew the job would be different this time around. Rather than photographing the oppressed in hopes of better policy, she was working for the oppressor. The government wanted to show how everything was orderly and humane, but her photographs reveal something else. From February to July of 1942, Lange raced up and down California to capture internment in real time. She started months out from removal, capturing the families that would be moved, where they lived, worked, went to school, weddings, and the normal life that they would be forced to leave behind. She was also there weeks before removal and saw places of worship shuttered, businesses quickly trying to get rid of inventory, and farms that were sold at a steep discount. Then it was just days before, as people received their final instructions and hang out the wash to dry. And hours before removal, she captured people waiting in line. It's clear that people were wearing their best clothes, as though dignity could be a shield. But in small moments, people still reveal their anxieties and fears for the future. The identification tags were supposed to keep track of the family unit, but once you start to notice the tags in the photos, they start to feel like a weight, stripping away people's last bit of dignity. Without due process, the citizens and the aliens alike become a visual blob, a force moving through the worst kind of government bureaucracy, because it's a bureaucracy that is more interested in looking good than doing good. But even in the worst situation, people find a way. When she finally made it to one of the camps in Manzanar, Lange photographed the residents bringing gardens to life in the desert, playing baseball games, and leading a seemingly normal life. The reality is that Lange's photos captured all facets of internment, terrible injustice, and incredible perseverance. And that's just not what our government wanted. After only 4 months on the job, Lange was fired. Her prints were impounded. The government owned her work, and so she had to let them go. Most of her photographs did not see the light of day until 30 years later in 1972, when her assistant resurrected them into a book, Executive Order 9066. At the end of the book, Tom Clark, a former Associate Justice of the Supreme Court, wrote, "First, the mere existence of a legal right is no more protection to individual liberty than the parchment upon which it is written. And second, mutual love, respect, and understanding of one another are stronger bonds than constitutions."